The words whispered in Dalinar's mind. He couldn't get rid of them. They consumed him as he trotted down across the rocky boulder-strewn plateau on the Shattered Plains. Shouldn't we be there by now? The king asked. We're still 2 or 3 plateaus away from the hunting site, Your Majesty, Dalinar said, distracted. It'll be another hour, perhaps, observing proper protocols. If we had a vantage, we could probably see the pavilion, too. Vantage? With that rock formation up ahead, too? I suppose, Dalinar said, inspecting the tower-like length of rock, we could send scouts to check. Scouts? I need a run, Uncle. I'll bet you 5 full brooms that I can beat you to the top. And with that, the king galloped away in the thunder of hooves, leaving behind a shocked group of light-eyed attendants and guards. Storm it? Dalinar cursed, kicking his horse into motion. Adolin, you have command. Secure the next plateau, just in case. His son, who had been lagging behind, nodded sharply. Dalinar galloped after the king, a figure in golden armor and a long blue cape. Hoofbeats pounded the stone, rock formations whipping past. Ahead, a steep spire-like spike of rock rose from the lip of the plateau. Such formations were common out there on the Shattered Plains. Curse that boy. Dalinar still thought of Elhokar as a boy, though now the king was in his 27th year. But sometimes he acted like a boy. Why couldn't he give more warning before leaping into one of these stunts? Still, as Dalinar rode, he admitted it to himself that it did feel good to charge freely, helm off, and face to the wind. His pulse picked up as he got into the race, and he forgave its impetuous beginning. For the moment, Dalinar let himself forget his struggles and the words that had echoed in his head. The king wanted the race, well, Dalinar would give him one. He charged past the king. Elhokar's stallion was a good breed, but it could never match Galen's, who was a full shading, 2 hands taller and much stronger than an ordinary horse. The animals chose their own road riders, and only a dozen men in the war camps were so fortunate. Dalinar was one, Adolin was another. In seconds, Dalinar reached the formation's base. He threw himself in the saddle while Galen was still moving. He hit hard, but the sharp blade absorbed the impact, stone crushing between his metal boots as he skidded to a stop. Men who never worn blades, particularly those who were accustomed to his inferior cousin, simple plate of mail, could never understand. Sharp blade wasn't merely armor, it was so much more. He ran to the bottom of the rock formation as Elhokar galloped up behind. Dalinar leapt, blade-assisted legs propelling him up some 8 feet, and grabbed a handle from the snow. With a heave, he pulled himself up, the plate lending him the strength of many men. The thrill of the contest began to rise within him. It wasn't so nearly as keen as the thrill of battle, but it was a worthy substitute. Rock scraped below. Elhokar began to climb as well. Dalinar didn't look down. He kept his eyes fixed on a small, natural platform on the top of 40-foot-high formation. He groped, steel-covered fingers, finding another handhold. The gauntlets covered his hands, but the ancient armor somehow transferred sensation to his fingers. It was as if he were wearing thin leather gloves. A scraping sound came from the right, accompanied by a voice cursing softly. Elhokar had taken a different path, hoping to pass Dalinar, but the king had found himself at a section without handholds above. His progress was stalled. The king's golden shard blade glittered as he glanced at Dalinar. Elhokar set his jaw and looked upward and launched himself in a powerful leap toward the outcropping. Fool boy, Dalinar thought, watching the king seem to hang in the air for a moment before he snatched the retreating rock and dangled. Then the king pulled himself up and continued to climb. Dalinar moved furiously, stone grinding beneath his metal fingertips, chips falling free. The wind ruffled his cape. He heaved, strained, and pushed himself, managing to get just ahead of the king. The top was mere feet away. The thrill sang in him. He reached for the goal, determined to win. He couldn't lose. He had to unite them. He hesitated, not quite certain why, and let his nephew get ahead. Elhokar hauled himself to his feet atop the rock formation and laughed in triumph. He turned toward Dalinar, holding out a hand. Storm winds, Uncle, but you made a fine race of it. At the end there, I thought for sure you had me. The triumph and joy at Elhokar's face brought a smile to Dalinar's lips. The younger man needed victories these days. Even little ones would do him good. Glory spread like tiny golden translucent globes of light began to pop into existence around him, attracted by a sense of accomplishment. Blessing himself for hesitating, Dalinar took the king's hand, letting Elhokar hold him up. There was just enough room on the top of the natural towers of the world. Breathing deeply, Dalinar slapped the king on the back and acclaimed medal on medal. It was a fine contest, Your Majesty, and he played it very well. The king beamed. His golden shard plate gleamed in the noonday sun. He had his face played up, revealing light yellow eyes, a strong nose, and a clean-shaven face that was almost too handsome, with full lips, broad forehead, and firm chin. Gavilar had looked like that too before he suffered a broken nose and that terrible scar on his chin. Below them, the cobalt guard and some of Elhokar's attendants rode up, including Sadeas. His plate gleamed red, though it In a moment, the moment was gone in the heart. There, Elgar said, pointing with a golden gauntlet in his hand. I can see our destination. Dalinar shaded his eyes, looking out a large cloth filling 3/10 of plateau below the flying into the flag. Wide, permanent bridges led there. They were relatively close to the left side of the shattered plains, on plateaus Dalinar himself maintained. A fully grown chasm living Gary was his hunt, and the wealth of his heart his privilege to claim. You were correct again, Uncle, Elgar said. I try to make a habit of it. I can't blame you for that, I suppose, though I can beat you at a race now and then. I'm going to go ahead. What time is it? 3:25? I'll go another few minutes. This scene only goes another page, and then we'll do the Q&A, because I go to 45 after. I can't blame you for that, I suppose, though I can beat you at a race now and then. Dalinar smiled. I felt like a youth again, chasing after your father on some ridiculous challenge. Elgar's lips tightened to a thin line, and the glorious spread faded away. Mentioning Dalilar's soured him, he felt others compared him unfavorably to the old king. Unfortunately, he was often right. Dalinar moved on quickly. We must have seen of the 10 fools charging away like that. I do wish you'd given me more notice to prepare your honor guard. This is a war zone. Bah, you worry too much, Uncle. The Varshendi haven't attacked this close to our side of the plains in years. Well, you seemed worried about your safety 2 nights ago. Elgar sighed audibly. How many times must I explain this to you, Uncle? I can face enemy soldiers with blade in hand. It's what they might send when we're not looking, when all is dark and quiet, you should be trying to protect me from. Dalinar didn't reply. Elgar's nervousness, paranoia even, regarding the assassination was strong. But who could blame him, considering what had happened to his father? I'm sorry, brother, Dalinar thought, as he did every time he thought of the night when Dalinar had died, alone, without his brother to protect him. I looked into the matters you asked me about, Dalinar said, forcing away bad memories. You did? What did you discover? Not much, I'm afraid. There were no traces of trespassers on the balcony, and none of the servants reported any strangers in the area. There was someone watching me in the darkness that night. If so, they haven't returned, Your Majesty, and left no clues behind. Elgar seemed satisfied, and the silence between them grew stark. Below, Adolin met the scouts and prepared for the troop crossing. Elgar had protested how many men Dalinar had brought. Most of them wouldn't be needed on the hunt. The shard bearers, not the soldiers who would slay the beast. But Dalinar would see his nephew protected. Varshendi raids had grown less bold during the years of fighting. Alethi scribes, yes, their numbers were a quarter of their prior strength, though it was difficult to judge. But the king's presence might be enough to entice them into a reckless attack. The winds blew across Dalinar, returning with them that faint sense of familiarity he felt a few minutes before. Standing atop a peak, looking out at desolation, a sense of awful and amazing perspective. That's it, he thought. I did stand atop a formation like this. It happened during one of his visions, the very first one. You must unite them, strange booming words had told him. You must prepare. Build of your people a fortress of strength and peace, a wall to resist the winds. Cease squabbling and unite. The ever storm comes. Your Majesty, Dalinar found himself saying, He trailed off as quickly as he began. What can he say? That he'd been seeing visions, that in defiance of all doctrine and common sense, he thought those visions might be from the Almighty, that he thought they should withdraw from the battlefield and go back to Alcathar? Pure foolishness. Uncle, the king asked, what do you want? Nothing. Come, let's get back to business.